Men in Rompers are just.
It is good. I will concur on that one.
That might be another intro right there.
It does.
We have so many good moments tonight. Let's pick one.
Don't trust the gazelle with a rocket launcher. This is the Gals of Geekdom.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Gals of Geekdom podcast, episode 3. My name is Crystal, and I'm one of your co-hosts, alongside Eva and Aaron. But we also have a guest with us today. Please introduce to the show Miracle Man. Hi.
Hi, Crystal. Hi, Eva. Hi, Aaron. Thanks for having me on this evening.
Hello, Miracle Man.
So, I think one thing that we've decided to discuss and talk about is a little segment we decided to call Roblematic Things, as in relation to Rob Liefeld. So I will ask everyone else to take away from this discussion because there's been a lot of problematic stuff this week.
Well, like I was saying before you started recording, like when has Rob Liefeld ever written X-Men? Because he's been posting the tweet "Make X-Men Great Again," like he was somehow involved with the great era of X-Men. I mean, he's not
really
John
wasn't.
Byrne, he's not Chris Claremont. Who does he think he is?
I think he's equating sales numbers. You know, what he was.
That wasn't even
drawing.
X-Men, was it? It was X-Force.
It was X-Force, absolutely. But you know, the X series of characters, they sold a lot of units in the 90s. Of course, Turok Yearbook 1 sold a lot of units in the 90s, and I think today is lining better bird cages throughout America.
I think to give a little bit better context to this, let's just say Rob Liefeld has been tweeting a bunch of random things that he shouldn't be about the X-Men,
Oh, yeah.
including, and I quote, "Make X-Men great again."
Yeah, that was gross. Particularly X-Men, which has long been a story about the oppressed, really marginalized.
Yeah, but they were young when they saw it, so they didn't understand that concept.
Well, they still don't understand it, Crystal.
They don't.
I hate the concept, okay? I really hate the concept of and I hear Chuds say this all the time. I'm going to use the word Chuds again because I'm an avid back issue diver. I like to go into comic book stores and find myself some back issues. And often or not, I hear conversation of the Chuds in the comic book store, and I've heard multiple times throughout the years of how like the LGBT community or like minorities have ruined the X-Men, and I just you're missing the point of the X-Men, right? Like how are you an X-Men fan?
Badly. It's my theory is that they started with the cartoon, which had really, really limited politics in it, and then they bought the books but never read them, and then they put them down for 30 years and came back and they read them with the books, which haven't really changed at all since then. And now they're like, oh my God, I disagree with this. I want books that are not political unless they match my political ideology, which is incidentally fascism. They want the X-Men just to be a little more fashy.
So is that sorry to interrupt, but is that what Rob means when he says make X-Men great again? He wants fascism in X-Men?
Oh God, I hope not.
I don't know what he means. I don't think he's a fascist. I think he's well-meaning. He's just dumb.
I think there are people that when they say stuff like that, that's exactly what they mean. They mean turn down what they call SJW politics, and just either make it politically neutral or right-leaning, which would never make sense in any Marvel title, but most especially the X-Men.
I don't even think they want it neutral. I think they just want it right-leaning.
The Power of 1,000 Slaves. Remember that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jawbreakers. That's a good one right there.
God, don't even get me started on Maya.
I think it's more. I think if you don't mind me interjecting, I think Liefeld is basically saying he wants to see those kind of sales. Let's give it the most. Here, let me back up. I'm going to give it the most kind interpretation possible, and I'll say what he's trying to say and I'm supposition. He wants to see those sales units again. He wants to see X-Men selling like it did back in the day when $1 million print runs were common. Well, there's a couple of things that's going to ultimately prevent that. Number one, the print media in general is dying. It's been dying for 20 years. Everybody on Earth knows that. And number two, we're looking at a different era. People collect comics based on, and you see it pretty starkly now. People collect based on rarity. So you have a Detective 1027, or you have a one of these big books, the Action Comics 1000, the Spider-Man 800. Action Comics 1000, Spider-Man 800 sold like 800,000 units 2 years ago. People bought them because they were centennials, they were anniversaries, but there's no collectability there in regards to scarcity. They're gonna, everybody's got them. So most books aren't going to give you 1 million copies at a shot anymore, because who wants that? Who wants to have a book that everybody else has?
I kind of agree with you there. Rob is I'm glad you speak Liefeld. I appreciate that. He is all about his sales numbers. He always thinks that he's great because of his sales numbers, and he did do really good sales numbers back in the day, but like you said, those sales numbers aren't really a thing anymore.
Right. Well, and what happened to all those fans that were buying, 10 copies of X-Men #1, 2 of each cover, so they had a reader and an archive copy? They all bailed. They took off once they realized they weren't going to be able to sell their 15 copies of Superman 75 and put their kid through college. They were out, and that's okay. But those weren't fans in the traditional sense of I enjoy comics. Those were fans in the sense of, hey, I think this is going to be worth something someday.
You keep naming books that I have on my wall.
They're all books I've got on my wall too. I'm with you.
What blew my mind, though, was the gold copy of Spider-Man #1 in the bag. That one actually goes for some money today, and that blew my mind, because I at one point, I think I had like maybe 40 copies of it, and now they're worth like $300 a piece, and I'm kicking myself.
You said the gold?
Yeah, the gold bagged edition.
Damn it, I have the silver one.
Right on.
Well, look at the first appearance of Deadpool. If we're speaking of Liefeld. First appearance of Deadpool is, a couple $100 book, but at this point, I'm sorry, there was a point where that book was dollar bin fodder all day. Hell, it was quarter bin fodder. Nobody cared about it. It was a trash book, and now it's $300 in a high grade, or particularly if it's a newsstand. I think the newsstand stands out more. But that's an inflated price that really shouldn't be there, because there are so many of them.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you there. Like you have 98. New Mutants 98 is the book you're referencing,
right?
And it's like $350, in good condition,
Mm-hmm.
Just and like all the rest of that run of the Liefeld books. I understand it's Deadpool's first appearance, but like the rest of Rob Liefeld's work in that run is like dollar bin stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I have that run. I've found most of it in dollar bins.
Yep. Yeah, I've been piecing it together in the last few years. The vast majority of New Mutants, really easy to come by. There's a few, exceptions. 100's a little tougher. That first Deadpool, the first Cable, was at 87 or something like that.
87, yep.
And then, you have when Legion came out, those first appearance of Legion issues were a little pricier, but they've come down a bit too.
I don't think it's now that I think of it, I don't think that it's because of Liefeld. I think it's because of the popularity that Deadpool has gotten over,
Right.
the past 5 years. Because there's other issues like Wolverine. I'm looking now. I have a bunch of Rob Liefeld books just over there. Like Wolverine 154 and 155. They're like really expensive books for like what they are. I mean, they're like $30-$50 a piece. Like issues, and that's really weird when it comes to Rob.
I think you're right. It's just the popularity of the character of Deadpool.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. Nobody's saying,
man,
I gotta.
Rob. That wasn't Rob. That was the that was the movies and other writers that popularized, Deadpool. It wasn't him.
I mean, they made Deadpool original. At least more so original.
He was a co-creator. I said this last time.
Yes.
I don't know though. Do you guys think that the bringing back the speculators market is really a bad thing though? Um, I don't think it is. I know the popular wisdom is that, oh my God, it's a terrible idea. But man, just once, I would like to see a major book sell 10 million copies just so we could go to Ethan Van Sciver and say, suck it, dude. Is that terrible? No, I realize how selfish that is, and that, if comics did sell 10 million copies, that Ethan Van Sciver, along with everybody else, would benefit, like, on their backside for that. But, man, yeah, it would still be great.
So I'm pretty sure that the speculator market is back.
Oh, by far, absolutely. Yeah.
There was a couple of weeks ago, maybe it was like a month or two ago. It's recently, but there was one of the death metal tie-ins, Dark Death Metal, Legend of the Dark Knights, I think it was. It was a one shot. But like the day it came out, it was like going for like $50-$60 on like eBay, and like nobody, like people were on Twitter and like nobody could find this book.
Right. Yeah, well, the Batman Who Laughs, they did that 4-issue miniseries. Nobody was buying. He appears in issue 3 with, I think, with Punchline, and all of a sudden that book's a $120 book because nobody was buying it. Shops were ordering like 3 copies, and that big book blew up. Eva, you know Aaron Myers on Twitter, I'm sure, right?
I do. I know and love Aaron, yeah.
Aaron's great. Aaron got that first appearance of Punchline, which was at Batman '89 or something like that. And he got one that I actually have a background in printing. What happened was they cleaned the press, and they didn't clean it properly, and it washed out all the color on the page. And I think he sold that book for like $800.
Wow, you were kidding, really?
Oh yeah, it was big. It was big money. 92 was that what you were saying? 92.
Yep.
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah.
Punchline right here. It's right behind me. That's why I had to say it. It's right here.
Marvel misprints are fun. I got this one book. It was that one where Spider-Man fights Magneto. This was when it came out in the 90s, and I got a printing error on the cover where it was almost like 2 covers, but like you could see they cut it wrong, and I took it to my comic store, and at the time I think it was $40 for it on the spot, and I can't find it anymore. That particular misprint was really, really weird and really, really rare.
I have a misprint in a current, I believe it was last summer during Absolute Carnage. There was I think it was the Immortal Hulk one shot for Absolute Carnage, the event, and like 2 or 3 of the pages, like in the middle of the book, are like faded.
Oh.
I don't know.
Nice.
I don't know if that's a misprint, but like none. I couldn't find any like other books like that.
Probably counts as an unofficial misprint or counts as a misprint. Who knows? Whether or not anybody lists it that way. A lot of times these misprints happen, and where's the collected data go for misprints? Who's databasing every type of misprint out there? So you're kind of just lucky to find them. Like one of the, in my experience, one of the rarest misprints to find or misproductions is the double cover. And my collection is just shy of 23,000 books at this point. And yeah, and I've been doing it a while. And I have 2 double covers in my entire collection. So they're out there. People know that they happen. But both of them, I think the oldest. One's Conan the Barbarian 33, and the other one is the Weird number 2. So books that nobody on earth actually cares about.
It's still cool though. I
cool.
would not the coolness of those misprints.
Oh yeah, it's cool. I like it because that interior cover is like perfect. The exterior can get trashed. It doesn't really even matter. You still got another cover.
Oh, for sure.
So,
if you don't mind me asking, what is the fascination? What is your fascination? Because you talked about this on the other on your other show last week, and I was wondering what the fascination with Miracle Man is for you. Because I was reading up on it. This is not a character I know a lot about, and it's just fascinating that it's not actually creative decisions that created Miracle Man, but in fact the the IP history of the character, and I found that fascinating. What did you like about it?
Well, that is a bit of it. I'm not just a comic fan. I also love comic history, all the way back to the pulp heroes of the 20s and 30s. And I've been a big Alan Moore fan. Well, honestly, since probably 1984. There was a local convenience store that my mom would take me into every time we visit my grandparents, and she'd always buy me a couple of comics. And she was buying me Swamp Thing as it was coming out from Alan Moore. Now, if you've ever read that Swamp Thing run, probably not something to get a 7-year-old kid.
No, but it was a fantastic run. It really was.
Yeah.
They redid the whole character.
Absolutely. Fantastic. And, when some of those horror bits stuck with me all the way until I was an adult and going out hunting for comics to replace from my childhood that got destroyed one way or another. So I've been a Moore fan for a very long time. When I came across Miracle Man, I remember the first time I heard about Miracle Man, I read in a Wizard magazine. It was like top 10 moments in comics, and it was like number 7 was issue 15. The number 7 moment was issue 15, where Kid Miracle Man, was it Young Miracle Man? Kid Miracle Man goes out and murders all of London. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Miracle Man or the family of characters, imagine if it was Captain Marvel and the Captain Marvel family of the Silver Age, just as different characters. So you had a Miracle Man, a Kid Miracle Man, and a Young Miracle Man. No Mary in this one. This was a boys only, apparently.
Didn't she get involved later though, towards the end?
There was, yes, but she was not something that they really. So when it first started out, here's a very, very fast history of Miracle Man. Sounds like Eva did some reading up on it, but the character itself is it's fascinating what happened. So it's long been known that Captain Marvel was essentially a close enough to make DC uncomfortable ripoff of Superman. He wasn't, but there were too many similarities. They sued Fawcett. Fawcett ended up winning, but it bankrupted them, and they were forced to sell the IP to DC anyway. In the UK, a company had the rights to reprint the Captain Marvel stories. It was a guy by the name of Mick Anglo who worked there. And all of a sudden, it was like a faucet got turned off, and there was no more Captain Marvel stories coming. So the publisher goes to Mick Anglo, who's a staff writer, and says, I need you to make me something so we have something to print next week. And he came up with the Miracle Man family. Miracle Man was very much a regular Silver Age character, went defunct when the company went under. Dev Skin, who's a guy from the UK, Des Skin. A guy from the UK. He had a couple of comic shops. He did this underground magazine called Warrior, and this is back when all the great UK creators of today were just getting started. And he approached Alan Moore about doing this, and Alan was still very new. He had done a couple of backups in 2000 AD, and that was really it. And he got to reinvent Miracle Man. This is the first deconstructionist story in comics, really. So my fascination began with the character when I found out about, started getting some of this history. And when you start peeling back the layers of all these things that happened, Mick Anglo, the creator of Miracle Man, is a very similar story to most creators of the Silver Age. Ended up destitute and broke, living basically in a hovel. And because Mick Anglo was living in a hovel is the reason that Marvel was able to reprint Miracle Man, because Neil Gaiman went to Alan and said, listen, I know you don't want to deal with the big two, but, they said they'll give all the money to Mick. And Alan said, do it. Just keep my name off it. Mm-hmm. So that's how we got it back.
Nice. Well, but there was also that other big thing in the 90s, if anybody remembers, where Eclipse thought they bought the rights to Miracle Man, but they didn't. And then Todd McFarlane bought the rights to all the Eclipse stuff, and he was going to reprint Miracle Man and put it into the Spawniverse. Yep. And but then it turns out that there was some weirdness going on with the copyright law in the UK, and that the rights were never sold in the first place. It was just like the first printing or whatever. And right. So then Marvel bought the rights, and that sort of put Todd McFarlane's evil, sinister plan on hold. And that's how we get to where Miracle Man is now.
McFarlane actually went and bought those in order to have something to hold over Neil Gaiman's head in his copyright dispute over Angela.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes, that's what
that
that.
I did not know.
Yeah, I am not a big fan of Todd McFarlane for that exact reason. It was slimy. It was a slimy thing to do, and he bought it just to hold that over his head, and it was something like $50,000. He bought all the IP rights that Eclipse owned. The problem is that Eclipse at best had 50% of the characters. The other 50% was owned by the creators. So he had a very difficult time for him to do anything. But as Eva pointed out, the real controversy here is Des Skin, who originally approached Alan Moore to write these stories. He told Alan he had permission to use the character, and he didn't. So the very first Warrior magazine stories from Alan Moore were totally unauthorized in every way, shape, and form.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you have this groundbreaking comic that is itself an act of piracy. That is beautiful.
Really? Yeah, that's what it comes down to. Aaron, it looks like you want to laugh.
Crystal keeps looking at me.
How you know I'm looking at you? I'm looking at the camera.
I'm looking at both of you. I'm just sitting here imagining both
I know
naked.
you guys
I'm
can
sorry.
see what I'm doing, so like I don't like when it's story time. I just don't want to like, you know.
Oh, same.
I want to act like I'm actually listening because I am, but like you don't have to like. Half the time when I'm listening to people talk or like listening to a podcast or whatever, I'm just kind of like passed out or like laying on a couch or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're just chilling to it and vibing to it. That's an interesting
that's what I'm
story.
doing
I
right-
didn't
that's
hear
what I'm
that
doing
though.
right now. Yeah, that was that. I never heard about that before. I'm
not the comic person necessarily on this group, but I do enjoy
The
it.
best part of the story, though, is the way that one ended, because Neil Gaiman actually did get his copyright back.
He sure did.
That's good.
Sure, that's why we saw Angela in the Marvel Universe.
Neil
That's
Gaiman
even
seems pretty
better
cool.
because she is the leader of the Asgardians of the Galaxy currently, or the last I've seen her, which is one of my favorite series of the past like 2 years. I mean, it's not like great, but it's fun, and it's a fun twist on the Guardians of the Galaxy. Putting together a bunch of Asgardians and calling it the Asgardians of the Galaxy.
It's a good pun, for sure. It's a dad joke, though.
And Cullen Bunn writes it. Cullen Bunn, I first found out about his writing through, he did a lot of Deadpool stuff, like Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe and Deadpool versus Thanos. I'm trying to look to see which ones I have over here. There was a bunch of Deadpool stuff. So I saw he was doing Asgardians of the Galaxy, and I really like Angela. And she was the leader of that group, so I immediately picked that up.
I am a big fan of Cullen Bunn myself. I really enjoy his Aftershock stuff. Which actually, I don't know if you saw this. Diamond actually has a collected edition coming out calling like the greatest works of or something like that from Aftershock, which is all Cullen Bunn like first issues.
That's cool. I like him. He's a really good writer.
Yeah.
I have a lot of his books.
Yeah, really good stuff. I just read something from him called Unholy Grail, which is it starts off with the last night of Camelot returning after Camelot has fallen, and he goes into the Great Hall, and the table is shattered, and he's brought the Grail, or he thinks he's brought the Grail back to Camelot. And it shows that the man we knew as Merlin was maybe not actually human. Yeah, it's first issue was a lot packed into it.
Ooh, I like that. I like when first issues are thick.
Oh yeah.
So what? I like it when the first issue is real thick. Let me tell you. There's the intro right there. There's the intro line. I just did it. You guys always want my intro. There you go. You want me to do it again?
I think this week we were gonna go with somebody else's intro. Honestly.
That's an intro. Listen, I'm telling you right now, you can't pass that up.
Yeah, you can't.
It was organic. It fits. I mean, I'm just saying. When somebody gives you gold, like I like it when the first issue is really thick. You take it.
Yeah, but okay. So like last week, she comes to us and she's like, hey, why are you guys using me every week? Do you hate me or something? And I felt really bad about it.
I'm funny, I guess. I don't know.
You are. You're hilarious and you're awesome, and we love you.
So I wanted to change things around and ask you all what you've been reading this week.
I actually have
Sweet.
something new. And I am currently reading Gail Simone's Red Sonja.
Oh.
Yeah, I decided, because I don't know why I didn't think of this sooner, that I could get a digital library card from the Los Angeles Public Library and use Hoopla to start reading comics for free,
Nice.
which is an awesome way. The app is a little slow, but I can still use it. And I just was like, I need to read some of Gail's work because I really hadn't, and I love her, and I love her on Twitter.
She's awesome.
And I realized that's been a blind spot. So I was like, well, Red Sonja seems like a pretty like succinct run, and it was easy to find. So I was like, that could be something I read. So yeah, so far I've been digging it.
Were you familiar with the Red Sonja before Gail Simone got a hold of the character?
Just in name, not in any like tangible, media.
Because Gail made some really, really cool retcons. She really turned Red Sonja into sort of a feminist icon, which I thought was neat. That didn't exist before.
That's pretty cool. But was it written by before? Oh, nice. Aaron's holding up a pop figure.
Very cool.
Yeah. Hey, Aaron's Funko Pop collection is awesome. It is the coolest thing I've ever seen.
I have so many.
I have almost an entire room dedicated to it, but it's not the room that I'm sitting in. So eventually I'll take a picture and show you how much I have, because I actually have quite a lot.
Would you believe that I don't own any of them? Like, even one?
You should get one of the character you like.
No, that's how it starts. That's how it starts.
You can't just get one.
Yeah, my first ever pop, somebody gave me a Spider-Gwen pop, okay? I forget who it was. But I got the Spider-Gwen pop because it was like the character I was reading. I was just getting back into comics at the time. It was like 2017. And it was shortly after my transition, and I really wanted like a strong female character to read, and I picked up the Jason Latour's run on Spider-Gwen, and it like quickly became like my favorite thing ever, and that's all I read. I've read that run like 3 or 4 times since I've gotten it, but yeah, I since have like 4 other Spider-Gwen pops. I have the Silk pop. I have what was it? The Captain America from Gwen's universe, Earth 65. It was a she. I forget her name. But she was like a black female nurse during like World War II, and they gave her. She somehow got this super soldier serum. I forget how, but she became Captain America, and like I really love that like I don't know, I just really loved her universe, like her Earth.
That's pretty cool.
I loved the story where Peter Parker became the Lizard.
Yeah.
That was so good. It was just so charming and so enthralling, and it was so backwards and weird. And I mean, seeing the characters one way, and then they just sort of skewed it in Spider-Gwen's universe and gave you something entirely different. But they were sort of able to capture the same feeling of the original, which I really liked.
I like the Kingpin in her universe. It's actually Matthew Murdock, and he's so sinister too. Like it works so well. I don't know how they do it, but they made him the Kingpin, and I love that choice.
It's always fun when they play around with perceived characters and stuff of what you think you know about something and just completely change it. Oh, sorry. We'll get into that afterwards. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, it's okay. I still love you, Crystal. I do. Okay, so this week I did something really interesting. Somebody told me about this book called Dreadnought, and it's about a trans superhero. And I read it. I read both of them actually. There's 2 books, and it is really interesting. It is such a good story. It just sort of captures the trans experience really well, and it exists in this universe where superheroes are pretty common. And the villain is an evil witch who happens to be a TERF the whole way through. And it was great, and I felt like a lot of just sort of a lot of personal connection. It really jived with my experience, and I think I don't know this for sure, but I suspect that Crystal's going to jive with this one too because it is an amazing set of books. The second one is a lot more. The first one's really sort of about how she gets her powers in her new body and comes out. She gets this sort of instant transition, but the thing that was really cool about it was how she just sort of, still had to deal with all the everyday problems that all trans people have to deal with. And the second one was just nonstop action. So there you go. Aaron, what were you going to say?
Who is the author of this?
That was
April Daniels.
April Daniels, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just looking on my app about it because I have it on the same service.
Yeah.
There
Oh
it
my
is.
God, it was so good.
Yeah, I got this
Dreadnought.
on my
There you go.
I got this on my Amazon thing now.
Is it
I
a
guess
graphic
it's an
novel or is it
Audible.
a book?
It's a book
It's a
book.
book.
It's like an actual book with like no pictures in it.
Oh, wow.
And it's outstanding.
Oh,
It is captivating.
you're kidding.
You know.
Oh,
I
it's a
did
book.
it on, I know. But I did it on Audible. So like you actually sit there and have it, read to you at ridiculous speeds because that's what I like with my audiobooks. And yeah, it was captivating, especially for me, just because of my background. I felt like I really jived with the character. I felt like April Daniels just really gets me, which was awesome.
I'm probably gonna love it.
Yeah, that seems
You
really
are.
good.
Have any of you ever heard of Alters from Aftershock?
No.
I have, but I
Actually.
have not read it yet.
Oh my God, there's so many Aftershock comics I need to get.
There's really good stuff.
I've been reading Dead Day. I think that's on Aftershock, isn't it?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, Dead Day. That's the one I picked
That's been
up.
good.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying that one.
Ryan
Oh.
Perrott, I think his name is.
Yes, I think you're correct on that.
Yes, he just recently followed me on Twitter.
Oh, nice.
He's pretty cool. I like him. Oh man, zombie. It's just a new twist on zombies. I love it.
Right. Right, and it's not. It doesn't feel, it doesn't feel like the same old.
Yeah, it feels new.
You
It's
know.
refreshing.
It is. It is. Alters is just to let you know, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done. Alters is another Aftershock book, and the creative team was very diverse. Different genders, backgrounds, sexual orientations, different gender identities. I mean, the whole creative team was very diverse.
Battery is
And-
at 20%.
And she was
Sorry.
a major superhero, and she was trans. And the series is handled really, really well. I say that as somebody who has not experienced it, so I can't say if the experience is accurate, but it seems to me that it was handled really well, done really good. Art's really great. There's only 10 issues. Came out a
that's
couple
easy.
years ago. Yeah, not bad.
Let me see if I can. I'll see if I can read that
I've
on the app I have.
I've been enjoying a lot of Aftershock stuff.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when Aftershock started coming out with all their new stuff, I think a
Mhm.
couple months ago, it was like during the pandemic, like during like lockdown, quarantine, and my LCS was closed. But he made sure to send me like all the #1 issues. He was like, I think you might like this one. I think you might like this one. Just in hopes that I'd subscribe to him. And I subscribed to Dead Day. Dead Day really stuck out to me.
Yeah. Well, John Layman just did one, The Man Who Effed Up Time. I absolutely loved that. Jimmy's Bastards was another one that I loved from him. That's Garth Ennis book. Garth Ennis could write the instructions to a can of corn and I'd read it. But probably my favorite out of their run though is Animosity. I don't know if you ever heard of that one.
Mhm.
This is I'll tell you right now, this is probably one of the best books on the stands today. I love animals. I absolutely love animals. My wife even more so than I. We joke that she will die from being bit by something she shouldn't have snuggled. Um, in the wild. Uh,
Nice.
but Animosity is a story where the awakening happens, and the awakening is every animal on Earth suddenly is advanced in intelligence to human level, gains the power of speech, reasoning, and they remember all the horrible shit we've done to them. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, I just cussed on your show. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You can fucking cuss.
Basically, imagine the story revolves around a little girl and her dog who wants to protect her in this new dangerous world. The animals instantly start to fight back. They actually start building their own armies. There's a cover that just every time I see it, it makes me laugh, although it's handled very seriously. Of a great big old buck walking along with hand grenades dangling off his antlers, and a raccoon sits on his back and pulls the pins and throws them at humans who come and attack them.
Nice.
So I cannot say enough about it. I highly recommend that book. Marguerite Bennett is the author. Very talented.
That one's been out for a while, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, like 4 years.
Listen, I just see a turtle with like a grenade launcher on his back. Like, what the fuck?
That's beautiful.
I want this.
Early in Fables, very early on, I think the second story arc, they take you up to the farm, and if you're not familiar with Fables by Bill Willingham, Fables, they're the imaginary creatures throughout all the imaginary stories. You have the human-looking ones living in New York, and then you have the animal-looking ones living in a farm in upstate New York, and they go through a revolution at one point where they're like modifying guns and stuff so that they can the animals can use them, and that was like 2-3 issues, maybe 4 issues long of a story arc. This is like at 28 issues of animals with guns and bazookas and driving tanks and shit.
That is literally the reason why I love comics, because you get stuff like that.
Hell yes.
How is Fables, by the way? Random question, but I haven't read much. I've been wanting to read more because I played the Wolf Among Us, the game that was the adaptation of that, and I loved it. I absolutely loved the Wolf Among Us. How's Fables in comparison to that? I mean, it's the same thing, but you know what I mean. Is it a good read, or is it like too much at this point?
No, it's absolutely a fantastic read. Highly recommend. It's a journey. It's 150 issues. I think they had 4, 5, maybe 6 spin-offs from a couple of Cinderella series. You had Fairest, which all has covers from Adam Hughes, so those are hot books. But it's a fantastic series. Now listen, the reality of the situation is Bill Willingham is very hard right, and you will see right-wing politics in there. Notice the chuds don't scream about that one.
Everywhere. That was my feeling. Was that I did not like it. Okay, my thought with Fables was I thought I was going to go into it and like it, and then 10 issues in, I'm like, okay, whatever. And I finally got through it, and my final thought on it is I don't hate it as much as I thought I would there for a minute, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I went into the game adaptation, the Wolf Among Us, completely blind. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's basically it's like the other Telltale adventure games where it's you play as Bigby, if you remember the character, obviously, but and it's like a choose your own sort of narrative where you get to choose the dialogue option in certain scenes, and characters react in certain ways to how you play. Like you can play him as much of a jerk as you want to, or you can play him as sympathetic, and certain characters live or die based on those choices. And I was enthralled, but I didn't know he was right leaning. But I thought if nothing else, I thought the game was awesome. If you want to check it out.
I played the first chapter. I don't think I ever actually bought the game, but I played the first chapter.
Yeah.
I have always been, we end up fighting, and Crystal and Eva, Aaron, I'm sure you've dealt with this yourself, but Crystal and Eva, I think we found each other fighting Comicsgate. I know I found the two of them fighting Comicsgate.
Yeah, that's true.
Sorry, they who shall not be named. And they even have their own Voldemort. And not to bring that up, but you know,
It's okay. I actually mentioned him by name earlier, so you're good.
I know. I was gonna say, if you say it one more time, he appears. You know that, right? Like he
You
just
mean like
shows up.
Beetlejuice?
Right.
It's like Beetlejuice, right?
True.
Yeah.
Biggie
Or
Smalls.
like Candyman. Yeah.
Candyman, yeah.
It's like all of those things, except somehow worse and smelling more like cheese. You know, but
She and the lack of bathing. Yeah.
yeah.
You sure you're not talking about Goat Man?
Well, I mean, not far. He's like a shitty Willy Wonka.
I don't know how Willy Wonka could be shitty.
Well,
Isn't Willy Wonka already shitty?
For everybody, as long as you agree with me, that's the thing.
Right.
He hates democracy. He hates people. He hates his fans, and then he comes out with, "Oh yeah, but comics need to be for everybody," which is just such bullshit.
Right.
My goodness.
Right.
Miracle
Well.
Man, I have known you forever, for years.
Yeah.
I think we first met after Milkshake, even before I transitioned. And
Yeah.
it has been a long time.
What was that?
I heard milkshakes, and I just kind of.
It was hot, whatever it was.
I recently got my milkshakes.
I'm looking at my phone. I look up. I see titties getting shaked.
That's how it is when you roll with me.
It's just
These
part of
guys-
the norm.
We have a group chat. We have a group chat, us three, me, Crystal, and Eva, and I don't know how many pictures of my tits I've sent that group chat.
I don't know. I lost track.
Oh dear God.
I'm like, here, look at my boobs. Look at my boobs.
Well, you said they're
Like that, I would be showing
Expensive,
up
okay?
every day.
you said they're new, right?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every woman I know who gets new boobs shows them, so that's totally normal. Totally
Okay, cool.
normal. Yeah. my best friend's wife, she was like, "Look, I just got them," and just pulled them right out. It was. And it wouldn't have been a big deal if we weren't in the middle of church, but I mean. Wow, I'm totally lost. What we were talking about?
That's me for you.
I don't know.
Hey guys, boobs.
I lost track of boobs. Boobs.
Very
are
easy to
beautiful.
distract me. Shake some titties.
Yeah. Boobs are awesome, and I want a
You're-
gigantic set. Yeah.
You're not alone in getting distracted easily.
Congratulations, Aaron, by the way, on your boobs. Very congratulations on those.
Yeah,
you.
beautiful.
Woo!
All right, what were you guys talking about?
No, sorry. This is an audio podcast. Where we're talking about something very visual.
Well, the people listening can just be reassured that Aaron's boobs are lovely, and we adore them.
Thank you. I want to take this time of silence to shout out one of our listeners on Twitter at Done Randomly. She just messaged me and asked when our next episode was going to come out, and we're recording it right now, so I figured I'd shout her out since she asked me.
Well, that's awesome. Done randomly is pretty cool. I think I know who you're talking about.
I did want to make mention earlier. You were talking about Red Sonja,
Yes.
and I don't know if you've ever read any of the original Red Sonja stuff.
No, I like I said, this is my first anything Red Sonja.
Gotcha.
I just saw Gail's name and I was like, sure.
Bye.
So I've been a big fan of Gail Simone for a long time, and well, hello there. And first of all, if you like Gail, I highly recommend Secret Six from DC. Fantastic series.
Okay.
She created a series of that had all these characters that were, to call them B-list would be kind. They were C-list and D-list characters. Catman, Ragdoll, a random parademon,
Nice.
and there's a lot of great representation in the book. There's a lesbian relationship. There's an ace relationship. In fact, I think she very heavily implies that Catman and Deadshot have a bisexual relationship together because Deadshot's in it.
What?
Yes.
Deadshot?
Yes,
I mean,
Floyd Lawton.
Floyd Lawton is my
Yes.
favorite character.
Fucking
Well,
love
one of
him.
my favorites. He's like top 3. Floyd Lawton.
And I think it's Secret Six Volume 2 or 3. There was an original Secret Six, which was like spies that had cybernetic shit put on them. Ignore that one. The one with the supervillains is the one you want. And it started in Villains United, which was a Infinite Crisis series, I think Infinite Crisis series, and spun out from there. It hands down to this day is, in my mind, the best DC series of that decade. But long before, getting back to Red Sonja, long before Gale worked on it, when Red Sonja was still coming out from Marvel Books, there was an artist named Frank Thorne who worked on Red Sonja. And if you see any of the old Marvel feature covers, you'll see his art style. She's got very full, pouty lips. She's more curvy than she even is in the current run of stuff.
Right.
Frank Thorne eventually stopped writing Red Sonja, and went on and created his own version, kind of Red Sonja.
Okay.
Which, if you're ever looking for, and I'm, maybe you don't like this, but if you're ever looking for Red Sonja but erotic, this is the series you want to look for. Right.
Why not?
But it was called Gita. Gita of Alizar, Gita. Fantagraphics did it. I think Hermes Press just did a reprint. And please don't die. And honestly, I've got a couple long boxes of erotic books. No problem with those. But it's also beautifully drawn, and it's an adventure in a fantasy world, just like Red Sonja.
Nice. I will definitely look at said books.
So Miracle Man, I think just in general, nobody here has a problem with erotic books. Just
we're all positive
we talk
here.
about it every episode. Yeah. You're terrible.
Jesus.
Wow. I've been in 47 adult feature films, so I'm okay with erotica comics.
You've been in what?
What?
47?
You could have done
You can cut that out, Eva.
You absolutely should not cut that out.
No, I don't think I will.
You should have done 22 more.
22 more? Why?
Just add
Yeah,
that.
I think that's 69. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got my camera.
I'm just kidding.
You said 47, and I was thinking Kevin Smith.
What?
47?
Kevin
Except it was
Smith?
In a row?
It was 37.
It was 37.
37.
You look at me and you think of Kevin Smith.
Oh, trust me.
No,
When I look at you, I'm not thinking of Kevin Smith, especially after the titty shake.
Speaking of Kevin Smith, since we brought him up, what's your favorite Kevin Smith movie? I'll go first. Mallrats.
Nice, good choice. I guess I'll say I think my favorite Smith movie is probably like Clerks or Clerks 2. One of the Clerks films. One of those two. I like.
Could I be a contrarian and say that I thought his run on Daredevil was just fucking amazing?
Oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that. Thank you. Somebody
Yeah, he did
acknowledged that.
Yeah, he also did a Green Hornet run that was the best in 20 years, at least since the Now series. He is a fantastic writer.
Hey, the fat man sometimes, comes in clutch.
He has a spotty track record overall, but I still think he's really funny and talented. I don't really go out though for his horror, like Tusk or Red State. I didn't see Red State, but they just didn't appeal to me. Like I finally saw a new Kevin Smith film in reboot, Jay and Silent Bob reboot or Did you see it or no?
I've seen it, and I wish I did.
Really? I love it.
It's so good.
It was funny.
Oh man.
I mean, like, if you go
Kevin
back and
Smith going up against himself.
oh yeah, I don't know. It was fun. It was a nice tribute for the whole Askew-universe, I should say. I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, but I loved all the references and the cameos and stuff.
I don't remember much, but I do remember Ben Affleck's monologue.
Right.
I thought that was really cute when he was just sitting there talking.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was very sweet.
I don't want to spoil it, so I don't really want to give the bit away.
No, I'm just saying it does a good job of tying up his view of Askew-universe. in some way.
I personally
know.
didn't.
Okay, everyone has their own thing. Not everyone's perfect.
I
Hater
like
I
it.
want to see the Blunt Man and Chronic comic come out. I really want to see that now, more than anything.
I got to meet Kevin. I got to meet him last year, and surprisingly, he was as, I mean, like, not surprisingly, but it was just nice to know that he was as sweet in person as you think he is. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, as this was before COVID, but he was hugging everybody.
He's a huggy
He's
kind of guy.
adorable.
Yeah, he's adorable.
I really enjoyed the Comic Book Men TV show.
Me too.
That was one of my favorite TV shows. You know, it starts off really cheesy, but you know, it gets really wholesome really fast.
I've met and talked with the Comic Book Men guys at different conventions and stuff. They're very nice to talk to.
I actually visited Red Bank multiple times long before the show came out, and went to the Secret Stash. I only ever met Mike Zapsik, is his name, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
But you know, they for a shop that can really rely on the gimmick, number one, they have great back issue selection. The store is filled with memorabilia. The original Clerks script is sitting in there in the display case. He has the Blunt Man and Chronic car and statues in there.
Oh, nice.
Whole bunch of stuff, and I bought everything that you go there. If Jay or Kevin is involved in it, and I imagine when Walt and everybody else was getting deals, same for them. But anything that they worked on, you could get autographed for the exact same price. They didn't charge you anything for autographs.
Oh, that's nice.
You know, so that was pretty cool.
If I make it out there ever, I'll definitely visit.
And it's worth it.
Crystal, come visit me. I live like an hour away from Red Bank.
I want to visit there. We're just in the middle of a pandemic and I have no money.
2020 has been absolutely horrendous.
It has.
2020 is a shit show of a year, but it did bring us one good thing: this show.
That's true.
No.
That's
It did.
We met her and we had to do a podcast because she was too awesome.
I've been high for 8 months.
I think that's the only way that you can really make it through this sane.
Send help.
I accidentally got high earlier. My neighbor was smoking pot in her hallway, and I walked right into it. And I swear to God, I had the contact buds from hell for like 2 hours.
My house, then. Yeah, we got some brownies being made right now downstairs, and that's all I could smell was like the resin.
That sounds amazing.
You doing it with butter?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, right on. Right way. I'm not going to give anything up, but I will say this. I do know somebody who makes some damn fine butter. And we had caramels. If you ever want to get ripped, make caramels, because caramels is essentially butter and sugar. So if you get a good batch of butter, that caramel stuff can be real good.
That sounds amazing.
So, Mr. Milkman, where are you located at in these United of States?
So, you know, because of the high-profile enemies I've made, I don't get too detailed. But I live in New York.
Okay.
If you live about an hour from Red Bank, you live fairly close to where I grew up.
I'm in Philly.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, Geno's or
Pat's?
Yeah.
Neither. I haven't been to either one of those.
Neither? Oh, wow. See, I would say Geno's. Actually, I went to cheesesteaks. We're talking about cheesesteaks. Which is, you know, it's a Philly thing. I took a friend of mine there after living in New York for a number of years, and we stopped at Geno's. You know, and there's a very specific way you have to order your cheesesteak. And they asked for a Philly cheesesteak, and I literally took a step away from them. I was like, I don't know who the fuck this person is.
Wow.
Literally, if you're looking for a good cheesesteak in Philly, I used to hang out down in South Street. I used to go to Milk Boy down in South Street all the time.
Right on.
I would get hammered down on South Street, and they would make the best cheesesteak. In my opinion, it's the best cheesesteak I've found in Philly, and I've had a lot of them in Philly because I live in Philly.
I have not been to South Street since it was really seedy.
It's still, last time I was there, I almost got, like, there was a shooting, like, right where I was.
Okay.
Like 10 minutes before I had left.
It sounds like it's getting back to the way it used to be then, and that's good.
my opinion about South Street is, it's fine, but just leave before like 11. Nothing good happens there after 11.
Yeah, sounds right. That sounds right.
So, like, if you're from New York, though, have you had the cheddar stick? That thing they have that they do in like Harlem and Manhattan and all those places?
No, I have not had that.
They are delicious and they are cheap. I had one last time I was in the city, and oh my God. It's not like a cheesesteak at all. Totally different ingredient set, but it is amazing.
Oh, speaking of New York, I only go to New York one time a year, and it's usually it's always in October, I should say.
During spooky season.
No, during Comic-Con.
Right.
Yeah, but it's
Well, yeah.
October.
It is during spooky season, just coincidentally, and I'm really sad that Comic-Con's not a thing this year, but I'm okay with taking a year off.
Are they doing virtual or not trying that? Because San Diego did the whole at home, which was pretty cool. I mean, for what it was.
Last year, I broke my bank at Comic-Con.
Mm.
I got so many back issues.
That is really easy to do.
Oh my God.
At a con, yeah, it's easy to spend lots of money.
I mean, you can walk in with $2,000 in your pocket and just it's gone by the time you're out.
So who did I cosplay as?
Who did you cosplay as?
I cosplayed as Silk.
You said so.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep. Everybody, I knew there was gonna be so many Gwens there, so I was like, I gotta do something different.
What was the Gwen Silk ratio to Harley's?
I was the only Silk that I saw there. I was there 2 days, and I was the only Silk that I saw there. But there were like hundreds of Gwens and hundreds of Harleys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Harley is super popular.
Super popular, and a great opportunity to show a little something sometimes, which I have no complaint over. I'm not complaining.
Fun story about Comic-Con. First day I was there, I saw this guy with a motorcycle passing. Thanks. I saw this guy, and he was cosplaying as Scott Summers, like the perfect Cyclops, and I just kept following. I shouldn't say following. Coincidentally running into him.
You were stalking.
Yeah.
Every time I saw him, I'd be like, Scott! What's up, Scott? And I could see the sheer embarrassment on this guy's face, okay? And I don't know why, I just kept doing it. And I was happy. I was at Comic-Con. It was the first time I was there, since I transitioned, and I was having fun. And I think I ruined this guy's experience there overall, at least in that room until he had lost me,
Did you get a picture with him at least?
No, I got a picture with Punisher though, and then I got a
Nice.
picture with a Captain America that later tried to hook up with me. He started messaging me on Instagram the night after, and he's like, "Hey baby, you wanna come to my hotel room and shit?"
That's a crossover I'd pay to see.
Maybe mix more porn.
Comic-Con's always a blast.
I've actually never gone to any of the big cons. For almost 40 years of collecting comics, I've never been to any of the big ones. I've only ever gone to the little cons, and my thought is always I can spend that $50 or $60 to get in on $50 or $60 worth of 50-cent books.
True.
I mean, you go to Comic-Con for the experience.
Right.
It's not necessarily for getting certain things or whatever. It's to interact with other people, to see the booths, sometimes get in panels. It's more for.
I was waiting for that.
I mean, that's.
Sorry, Crystal.
I said booth, not booth.
When you cosplay at Comic-Con, how many people just randomly grab your ass as you walk by? Does that happen a lot?
Not that I can remember. I don't know. I'm in a state of constant happiness when I'm at Comic-Con, so I'm not necessarily paying attention to my surroundings. You know what I mean? I'm just walking around like a kid in a candy store. I'm like, oh.
Well, 10, 12 years ago, SDCC did this big push where cosplay's not consent because it was a major problem.
I've seen those signs around at different conventions now.
I remember the scariest thing I had to do at Comic-Con was I made the mistake of drinking too much coffee, and I had to go to the ladies' room, and I had to stand in the line to the ladies' room for like an hour and a half. And if you're trans and you know what it's like to go into the women's room, just on like a normal like restroom,
High
you know,
anxiety.
you can imagine the anxiety of standing there with hundreds of like cisgendered women, and you know that feeling of like, oh man, it sucked for an hour and a half. That was like my worst experience of Comic-Con overall. Of like the 2 days I go when I go.
I'm just glad to know that everything turned out fine, though, in the end, as much as anxiety filled as that was, I'm sure.
I had to pee.
Yeah.
It's important.
The worst part about it, nothing happened. Everything's fine. The anxiety was internal. It was all in my head. And afterward, the worst thing that like happened during that whole experience was I needed help zipping my Zentai suit back up. Have you ever tried to like go to the bathroom when you're wearing a Zentai suit at a con? Like,
I have not personally.
you have to get like butt ass naked to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I believe it.
You know, I hear that complaint about rompers. You know, every time my wife will wear a romper and she'll go out, she'll be like, you know, every time I have to go to the bathroom, I have to like get naked in a public restroom, which she's not a fan of. I'm sure you can imagine. So I mean, I think I kind of have the idea of what you're talking about.
Yeah, Zentai suits are no fun when you gotta take them off. Rompers, I don't know much about because I believe I only have one romper and I've never worn it.
Rompers is one of those things that like it can be super cute, and it can also be the exact opposite, and there's no in between.
I think they're cute. I think they're cute on guys. Like I like my men
Especially-
like and muscular. You know, the typical blockhead. You know, like that's my kind of guy. And you know, if he wears a romper, that is, oh my god, I love that look. Men in rompers are just.
It is good. I will concur on that one.
That might be another intro right there.
It does.
We have so many good moments tonight. That's a big one.
You know, it's funny. You mentioned blockhead, and this is just a random thought I had, and I don't even know why I'm vocalizing it. But whenever I think of blockhead, I think of this. Have you seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the
Yeah.
1980s? Okay.
Oh hell yeah!
I just
Oh,
remember
yeah.
the clown guy going, "What are you gonna do? Knock my block off?" Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
It was
Every
a
time I see
decapitation
Joe
being
Biden,
on
I
by-
think of that. Because when his face gets all puffy and red, he's like, oh, he looks like he's going to be like, oh, I'm going to knock your block off. So speaking of which, I wanted to bring that up. I wanted to touch on that before we end. Has anybody watched did anybody watch the debates? I watched the full hour and a half of the debates. And
Was it really a debate, though? I mean, what was actually being debated? All I heard was Joe Biden and Trump in the background saying, nope, that's wrong. Don't do it. Don't do
You
it.
love
Not
me.
flag.
they love me. I got football back.
Oh, you just lost the left. Oh, my God.
You just lost the left, Joe. You just
When he
lost the
said that
left.
line, when he said that specific line, I wanted to jump through the goddamn television set.
I just wanted to choke him. I did.
I've never been so stoned and so pissed in my life.
Yeah. It was 90 minutes of a guy trying to talk to you while another guy stood there and screamed, "Go fuck yourself," over and over and over.
Hey, fuck you.
Yeah. You know, you've been in Philly. I'm sure you've heard that a lot. Just walking down the street, somebody screams, "Hey, go fuck yourself."
I hear that all the time coming from just outside. I don't even need to go outside to hear that. My neighbors are always arguing.
There was this one guy, he's a White House staffer, and he got on Twitter, and he's like, you know what you saw in the debate? We see that every day in the
Right.
White House.
Right.
Can you even imagine what that's like?
So, what was your favorite moment in the debate? My favorite moment was when Trump proclaimed, "Do you like me in Ohio? I got football back."
I liked how Biden kept calling him a clown, told him to shut up at one point. That was beautiful.
I like when he made fun of Biden too. He's like, everywhere you go, you see with a big mask. He's stupid. He's always got a mask on. And he's like, now look, you got COVID, dude.
Yeah, really.
I didn't watch the full debates or anything. I mainly just saw clips via other stuff. But I don't know if anything was my favorite per se, but I did like seeing the moderator going back and forth with Trump because it's just like Really?
Mr. President,
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Yeah.
And then he went to Donald. He was like, Donald.
It's like dealing with like a really rowdy 5-year-old.
It was
It
the
was-
worst thing I have ever seen in my 25 years of living.
It was the worst debate that there's ever been. Like literally, they're implementing a mute button the next one
Yep.
because this was so bad.
If you remember in 2016, I think it was the third debate, and Trump starts going off the rails, and there was two moderators, and the moderators bring him back in line, and he goes, "Oh great, 1-on-3," and of course he said the same thing about Chris Wallace working for state-run television for the propaganda network isn't even good enough to be treated with any level of respect by that dumpster fire of a piece of trash human being.
He's awful.
Yeah.
Friends loves him.
Ugh. Yeah, the funny thing about him getting COVID, right? Everybody's like, well, we really should be polite. He's still, another human being and whatever. But, I think the thing that people miss, when they say stuff like that is it's really hard to be nice and be sympathetic to somebody who's been holding a gun to your head in terms of
Yep.
policy ever since he's been elected.
Yeah.
And, so like you get involved with, or you get a situation where he comes down with COVID, and my inner Jew that wants to celebrate, karmic justice for tyrants and evil people gets out and wants to cheer, and I can't help that. That's part of my culture. It's where I come from. but yeah, I mean that's what I want to do. I
I'm
want to
I'm
say
with you
good.
there. I'm with you there. Aaron, you have something to say, or?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys see my tweet the other day, but I actually when I saw that the president had contracted COVID-19, I got off Twitter because it's just so natural to wish this man ill will, and the want to wish him ill will, and I don't like that like primal side of myself, so I honestly had to get off of Twitter so I could just not see that primal side of myself because I don't like it. And
Right.
I
If he
don't
dies
need
of
that
COVID,
negative energy. You know what I mean? But yes, if he
Okay.
dies of COVID, our lives
I will
would
celebrate.
significantly
I
get
will
better.
celebrate.
I agree with you on that.
Sorry, I was just saying that instead of directly speaking on it, I more talked about the attitude surrounding it. How I don't know if you saw my tweet or whatever from like 2 days ago, or it was the night it happened. I was mainly just concerned on Twitter, commenting on how the conservatives are demanding empathy when the entire year it has been a complete denial and downplaying of the severity of the pandemic and basically spitting in the face of every marginalized person. So that tweet that I made, the tweet that said, I can read it. It says, "It's fucking amazing watching conservatives demand empathy when this entire year they spent it downplaying the severity of the pandemic and spitting in the face of science and basic human decency." Now, I tweeted that as soon as I found out about things and saw things on Twitter. And for my account that has 882 followers currently, that tweet got 2,241 likes. And I have no idea how that happened.
23K followers.
Crystal, can I
Mini
just tell you
viral.
that- Can
I
I
know.
just tell you that I love you and
love-
I really appreciate you.
Oh,
Damn, you're
I feel
pulling
the
bigger
same thing
numbers
about
than
you,
me,
Eva.
Crystal. And I'm the one that has the following.
I really don't know how that
Followers mean
happened.
nothing. I love you.
You're absolutely right about that. People are just fed up with this double standard. You got a guy in the office, most powerful office of the land, who's still always a victim.
Yeah.
Bitch, you are president. You are not a victim anymore. You're the most powerful person on this earth. You're shoveling taxpayer funds into your businesses. Your idiot family is in official, unofficial positions all throughout our government. Your son-in-law is essentially in charge of, both creating new life and exploring the Andromeda galaxy and everything in between.
Yeah.
You're not a goddamn victim anymore. Okay, you never were. Anybody born with a platinum spoon in their mouth like him has never been a victim once in his entire life.
I had
But-
a small loan of $1 million to start.
Who the fuck says that? I'm sorry.
This is the guy that's so out of touch, though, that he believes Biden's tax plan, which targets people over $400,000 a year, is 82% of Americans. That's legitimately what he thinks. Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah, he said that.
Oh my
Here's-
God! I was just telling myself that I need to eat more canned food because I'm poor. 400K? What? I ain't never made
I
that much
love-
money in my life. I only had a good job, and I only made like 56K. But got 400K? What?
This is what happens.
For everybody, if I make that kind of money.
This is what happens with somebody who grew up literally shitting on a golden toilet.
Yeah.
Well,
You
okay,
can't-
okay. I would shit on a golden toilet if I could.
I would too. I'm not even slamming him for that. I'm just saying, man of the fucking people, he ain't.
Well, we all knew that. You don't need to tell anybody. Like, you're singing the choir right now.
Well, he is sort of
Preach.
one of the people in
Preach.
that he's
Choir.
everybody's demented grandfather. You know, everybody has
Right.
a family member like Trump. In my case, it's my dad.
Okay.
My dad is just like that, and it's horrifying.
Does anybody else notice how President Trump stands? I hate calling him President
Yes.
Trump, but he stands like he's about to get fucked in the ass. Okay.
He does.
He always do that.
There was an article about why that is, though, and it's fascinating. Okay, so it turns out that Trump, he's actually 5'2".
He's short.
And he wears these shoes that make
Lift.
him almost a foot taller, but
Yep.
they make him stand funny. They're like heels for dudes. You
Right.
just
What?
can't.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
it is
thought
the
it was the
craziest
camera
thing.
because of his stomach.
No, it's because he's got the funny shoes and he doesn't know how to balance himself.
That's it.
He's
That's
a
exactly
very-
right.
He doesn't know how to walk
He's
either.
wearing-
He's always tripping around,
Yeah, he's been wearing heels longer than any of us.
and he can't raise a glass. That makes sense if he's wearing heels. Like how
Yeah.
he's off balance. You know, if I was 80 years old, I wouldn't be wearing heels. Have you ever tried to
They're
wear
like
heels
seven-
just in
they're
your
like
everyday
7-inch
life? It
heels.
sucks.
They make him 6'5". Can you even imagine? So
Can
they're
you
like,
imagine doing everything with stilettos? That would
He-
suck.
He
I
not
know.
only has those lifts, but he clearly has some type of dementia or something mentally going on there. There was a comedian that came out about 2 years ago. He worked on The Apprentice back in the day, and he said he used to see Trump blow lines of Adderall in between scenes. And he doesn't drink. He doesn't drink at all. Apparently, he had a family member who died of alcoholism. So he's never had a drink alcohol in his entire life. Let's be honest, that dude gets fucked up somehow.
Yeah.
And, and it's not just from paying off porn stars. He's doing something else.
Former. Porn stars can
Retired.
go on to be very successful people.
I
"What
no,
should we do?"
no shaming for porn stars. That's a job, man. That's a
Hey.
job that
Right.
98% of the world would do if they could get paid for it. So fuck
Hey,
anybody who
if-
says they wouldn't.
If one rich white guy wants to blow Addy off my ass, whatever.
Hey, for the right amount of money, I wouldn't
Ow.
care.
Yeah, right? Like, it's kind of hard to turn down some of these offers, a couple $1,000s just like that in your hand. Like, money's hard to come by. You guys
Right.
know it. I know it. I've been poor all my life. I grew up in a fucking trailer park.
Capitalism. What?
Right. Yeah. Facts all around. Facts all around.
So I don't mean to change the subject or anything, but I was talking to Crystal earlier
Yes.
this week, and she had some really just amazing observations things I had just never really thought of that I thought were brilliant when we were talking about the Iron Giant.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I was wondering if she wouldn't mind talking about that for a little.
Sure. I don't know if everyone here has seen the classic animated film, The Iron Giant from the 90s.
Hell yes. Grew up on that.
Okay, so I had told Eva, and I said this in the group chat, so I'm sure Aaron may have or may have not seen it. I don't know. It just depends. But I had said that I
She doesn't
believe.
read.
What? What? I'm busy reading. I'm not on my phone. What?
Yeah.
Never mind. I'm just
I go to
messing with
sleep for like 12 hours and I miss so much.
I love
So,
you.
I think what I was saying, I told Eva that I personally believe that The Iron Giant is the best film interpretation or adaptation of Superman that there has been so far. And what I mean to say that is it's not a film about a Superman, but it's about the ideals that I believe that make Superman best. And I think it can be extended to a lot of superheroes, but I feel like that film in general really understood it. It's why I've wanted Brad Bird to go on to direct a Superman film, because I feel like he gets it. Because I don't know if you remember the extent to which Superman is presented in the film, but it's presented as the main sort of symbolic comic tie that makes the entire character arc of the Iron Giant himself actually come to fruition. I guess I could do minor spoilers, but it's been like over 20-year-old movie. But the ending, like when the Giant himself is flying into the rocket and saying Superman, that is a perfect moment of what I believe is core at Superman's identity, is that complete selflessness and love for humanity. You know, I feel like that sort of take on Superman has been not, I think lessened a bit, and especially with the Snyder films, I don't feel like that came from it. So I don't know. I feel like the Iron Giant really understood it. I don't know if anyone else feels similarly to me about that or not.
I had just never thought about it, and that's, I think, why it hit me so hard, was because I do remember the Superman references in the movie, like that, where he takes the plate down with the S on it, and he's like, Superman, that was great.
And the kid shows him the Superman comics and reads it and says,
Yeah.
This is what a hero is earlier in the film,
Exactly. And maybe I think I just need to watch it again, with that sort of mindset.
I think the film improves when you're an adult watching it. It's kind of brilliant. Yeah. It's masterful in how it's handled, with a lot of care and a lot of maturity, and it makes me want to see more more animated feature films. Well, not only in like traditional animation, obviously, but just tackle elements like that in a way. I know Pixar does try to a degree, but I don't feel like they've quite got what Iron Giant had. I mean, it depends on the film for sure, but yeah, it's I don't know. It's just whenever I see the movie, I just go like, this is the Superman that I feel like the world kind of needs, and I don't think we need as much as anybody. I'm not going to fault anyone for enjoying Snyder's films, but I will say that I don't feel that he quite grasped the willing to give one's life and one's whole being to help other people. His Superman was more like, I don't want to do anything with people. Oh, wait, Lois is in trouble? Then I'm going to save people,
If you compare Snyder's films with like the Christopher Reeve Superman, where there's like a whole sequence where Superman is rescuing a cat from a tree, with Snyder's Superman, which is Superman the reluctant god, where nothing matters because we're all dead. That's the thing they kept saying over and over again.
Well, I agree with you on all the Iron Giant. I never really thought of it like that, but I'm probably gonna go watch it again now. But
I am too.
Bringing up Zack Snyder again for the third time in this podcast, and how like our disdain for him. Let's just bring up Star Wars again.
Yeah, well, I was waiting for that.
Like it comes up every time. Like, what do you think about Star Wars, Mr. Miracle?
I don't really have a disdain. It's just I have criticisms of how the character is handled, and the Iron Giant does kind of.
So I feel like when people make the Superman argument, this particular Superman argument, I think they're looking at sort of an era of the character, or a facet of the character. I think Superman has always been, hopeful and optimistic, but there have definitely been dark Superman stories long before
for
Snyder.
Sure. I'm not saying he's not the first one to do it. It's just my preference.
Totally. you're totally and 100% entitled not to like them. Like, for example, I personally feel like Dark Shazam stories are an abomination. Abomination is the only right word.
Says the woman who doesn't like Star Wars.
Yes. I gave up my passport to the Star Wars universe, and I am very, very happy.
Let's not talk Star Wars no more.
I keep trying to bring it up.
Aaron, why? Because we know it's gonna reach the same conclusions.
Yeah, no, we're all gonna end yelling.
I feel like I think it's my fault for bringing Snyder back into the conversation again. And
You did. You bring a taboo topic up, I'll bring a taboo topic up. Whatever.
Hey. So, like, Miracle Man, what do you think of the Snyder versus traditional versus optimistic Superman debate?
Do you care if Snyder stands come and brigade all of your accounts? Because I don't know if you really want to hear what I think of Snyder's films.
I do.
Okay. So I'm going to start off right off the bat and say, and you know, feel free to mock away when I say this. It's perfectly all right and probably earned.
That's a hell of a disclaimer.
I think Watchmen is the greatest superhero movie ever made. The greatest comic book superhero movie ever made. For multiple reasons. First and foremost, you know, as I said earlier in the show, I'm a very big fan of Alan Moore, clearly with my nickname here. And you know, the Watchmen story. I've been a fan of comics since before Watchmen came out. And it was the story that could not be told in any other medium. We said that for years and years and years, even as, you know, Michael Keaton's Batman came out and succeeded, and Spider-Man and X-Men in the early 2000s, and the MCU, and, you know, we all said it couldn't happen. And you know, when Watchmen came out, I was shocked at how well it was done, shot for shot. You know, because it's Zack Snyder, he added a little bit more gore and brutality in there. Yeah, that's cool by me. To
be fair, the gore was already there, but yeah,
it was, but he did, you know, the part where, like, for example, when they're cutting Rorschach out of the cell, did they need to cut that guy's arms off? I mean, they just slit his throat, you know. And the fight with Night Owl and Silk Spectre with the gang members, the Knot Tops in the alley, they're much more smashing and popping bones out of skin than that is pretty cool than in the comics. So there's the disclaimer. I love Dawn of the Dead. I thought that was great, even though it was a horribly anti-Islamic, Islamophobic film. I still love the movie. I don't think anybody in their right mind should ever let Zack Snyder write another superhero story or direct another superhero movie from DC again.
No.
If we're talking the mainstream characters, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, he has no business doing them. Now, if somebody wants to go make a superhero movie, and he creates a superhero movie that is much like The Boys, where you're dealing with these archetypes or how do you say that? Archetypical characters. There you go.
I will back this up by saying that Zack Snyder has no business making any classic horror movie remakes either. No business.
Yeah, I can't even argue that. Let the man do his own movies. If he wants to homage, if he wants to create characters that are like a Superman and a Wonder Woman and Batman and play in his own universe and show what they would be like in his vision of, you know, this Ayn Randian, everything's black and white, fuck humanity, but I guess I'll reluctantly help him anyway type of situation, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. Don't fucking write Superman, because that movie, my collection consists of a large portion of Superman comics. All right. My top 3 titles in my collection by volume of number of issues is Action, Superman, and Adventures of Superman. It's those 3 titles. I have over 1,000 comics alone. And he doesn't know who Superman is. That movie wasn't Superman in my mind. That was a guy with a kind of similar story wearing the Superman suit. Yeah. And I personally, I like him as a filmmaker. Just don't think he should be making a series of films about characters that are supposed to present the counterpoint to Marvel, which Marvel's always been historically, a darker, more grounded in realism and the real world type of publisher. And DC was always supposed to be, I mean, they have a pantheon of godlike character. You know, they were supposed to be examples of better things.
Do you think just in general, though, that the pendulum might be swinging in the other direction now?
Yes. Yes, absolutely is. It absolutely is.
I think
So-
I think what makes I think what made people's reactions to Snyder's films too different is this was supposed to be the answer to the MCU, right? Like the ultimate on-screen connected universe version of these characters, and the films feel like Elseworld stories,
Yes.
the deconstructionist, and I feel like that was the wrong approach to take
Yes.
specifically with these films. The only deconstruction Superman story that I like is Red Sun, because that is told pretty well. You know,
Done very well.
I'm more big on the the Blue Boy Scout sort of positive, hopeful version. And I'm not going to fault anyone for enjoying like a deconstructionist take on the character.
Sure.
But I do want that more. It's almost why I enjoy the CW version of Superman more. You know, it's a bit more familiar. It's not exactly perfect, but because they barely use him except for like in crossovers and stuff.
What do you think of like Injustice Superman?
Yeah.
I feel like
Where you
I
start
like
off
the
with
games
good
enough
Superman and he just gets mentally broken, you know?
I feel like it's becoming more way too common to try and do dark Superman now.
Yes.
I feel like the pendulum has swung so hard in the other direction that it's become a cliche. It's like they're doing it again in the new Suicide Squad video game.
Yeah, I
Right.
saw that.
Yeah, they
And
are.
I'm excited for the Suicide Squad game, but it's just like, again?
Evil Superman again.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but in that one, isn't he like possessed by Brainiac or something?
Yes, but
But
still.
that's not even like that's not even new either, is it?
I don't think so.
No, it's
They've
not.
done possessed.
But it. Oh yeah, they've done that a million times. But the difference is that this one is done in a super high budget video game with amazing graphics and
Leave
Yeah.
good
Soups
acting and
alone.
Just let them
Okay.
be. I mean, they should do a new video game of Superman.
I
They
want-
haven't tried that.
They
I
should.
think they're too scared to do that, though. I don't know why.
I know why.
Rocksteady should have gone. Rocksteady should have gone on from doing Batman and did Superman afterwards.
Should have, but they're very much Superman shy. Superman Returns on Xbox was a clunker of a game, and Superman N64 may have been the worst game on the entire platform.
Rings.
Might be one of the
rings.
worst games of all time.
I own that
That's
game.
considered-
Now you know why I'm saying rings, right?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I made it past the rings, believe it or not.
There's more rings.
You know, honestly,
there are more rings.
Yeah.
it might deserve more scorn than ET for the Atari
yeah.
2600, because if you look into the history of ET for the Atari 2600, it's literally a guy being forced to make a game within by himself in 2 months.
Andy Scott Warshaw.
I don't know. I think that one was the worst video game of all time, and it legitimately deserved the scorn that it got. E.T. for the Atari was the worst.
But he was still forced to make a game within 2 months by himself.
Right.
I mean,
Superman for the
capitalism.
64 not only had 2 years, it was also pushed back from a pre-Christmas release to a post-Christmas release and given an extra 6 months to polish up, and it still came out as a raging dumpster fire filled with cat turds.
Rings.
Rings.
Oh my.
There was actually an arcade game for Superman that came out. I want to say it was like 1983 or 84. And it was a side scroller, and then it was a up and down scroller. And you could be regular Superman, or if you were player 2, you had a red suit. Now, it wasn't Superman Blue, Superman Red, but the Superman Red was kind of like Superman Red from the comics. And that
Maybe
was
that's what I'm thinking of.
that is the hands down best Superman game ever created. I'm going to buy that arcade game someday and put it in my house. I don't have it yet, but I'm going to do it.
If you find it, let me know. I might
Will
do in
do.
on that with you.
Yeah.
I have an emulator on the PC. I can play the ROM anytime I want, but I got to get that cabinet.
Well, the controls on it were really cool too, like the button configuration and the joysticks on that. It was really neat. It was unusual for the time before or since, just because of how many combo buttons it had on it and the things you could do.
Very cool game. Very cool game. Love it.
So unfortunately, we are running out of time, aren't we?
Yeah, I think with this topic about Superman, I think that brings a pretty good end to this. Another
Full
solid
circle.
podcast, right? Another full circle. Another talking about Snyder. Is this going to be a thing on every single episode? I hope not.
At least we didn't
I don't
say
know.
make Superman great again.
No.
Let's just bring it back. Let's
Let's
just bring it back to
Bring it
Rob
full-
and do full circle. Yep.
Full circle. Well, it's been an excellent time. This is always a super fun podcast to record. I want to give everyone here the chance to plug away whatever they have, and specifically, I don't know if you want to go first, Miracle Man, or whatever,
start
but
with
just say what you're working on or who you need to follow or whatever.
Well, I'm really just somebody who likes to talk about comics on Twitter. I post books all the time. Come over and see me over there. My handle is @Kimota, KIMOTA 1977. We can talk about comics. We can make fun of Comicsgate. We can poke fun at Trump.
What was that again?
What's KIMOTA 1977. I actually just followed you a little while ago, Aaron.
So, like,
And-
when you say the word, do you just turn into a magical fighting being?
I have every time I've said it now, I've turned back into it. So it's kind of tough. I got to be real careful. But
Oh.
I do a little YouTube show. I'm a co-host called Not Near Mint. We are on every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern time with my co-host Rob Worst, Lady Fantastic, and Comics on the Mind. Come on by and see us there.
I can
Nice.
vouch for how great of a show it is, by the way. I have I've been interloping in their chats for quite a while and really enjoying it.
Good
I
times.
will make it a point to watch more of your content.
That'd be great, Crystal.
I will
Yes,
too.
of course.
Awesome.
So I'm Crystal Williams. You can follow me on Twitter at CHRYSTALWROX. You can follow me there, and then I'm also a writer, and I have a Medium page, so you can read my articles on there. Or you could just stalk me on Twitter and say hi. I'm down for anything.
I'm Eva Webb. My Twitter handle is Eva is adorable because I am. I earned that one. I'm on another podcast called Nerdfic Strangers, which is awesome. And nothing else really going on. I'm working on writing something, which is exciting. But nothing as cool as what Aaron's working on. So that's all I got.
Wait, what am I working on?
I don't know. You see, you're always working on cool projects.
I am. That's the thing. See, I always I always have this like incredible idea, and I start writing this incredible comic, and then I just stop, and I never finish it.
I do the exact same thing. Don't feel bad.
So my name is Aaron. I am usually on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Arinsipher, ERINSIFER. I'm also the same name on Twitch, twitch.tv/Arinsipher. And it's October, and we've been doing a lot of playing a lot of spooky games. It's really fun. You guys can see me get jump scared and scream. It's always a blast. My Twitch chat is amazing. It's always a nice place to hang out. Very, very inclusive. We like to make a welcoming environment on my Twitch channel. Other than that, I've been, like I just said, I've been writing, half projects.
Nice. I can't wait for them to become reality, Aaron.
Yeah, someday maybe.
Nice.
And that's our show. Don't forget to come back next week, where we'll have someone interesting on to nerd out with us. Today's bumper music has been graciously provided by Vans of Japan. See you next time.